The classroom door creaked open and every conversation stopped. A man stood in the doorway. His clothes were worn and dirty, his beard unkempt, his hands weathered and scarred. He looked like he hadn't slept in a proper bed in years. Because he hadn't. The students of Westbrook Academy's advanced music class stared in disbelief. Some pulled their bags closer. Others whispered to each other, phones already out ready to record whatever was about to happen. This was a private school, where tuition cost more than most people's yearly salary. Homeless people didn't just walk into classrooms here. Mrs. Patricia Henderson, the music teacher, turned from the grand piano at the front of the room. Her expression shifted from confusion to disgust in less than a second. She was 60 years old, had been teaching for 35 years, and had never in all that time been interrupted by someone like this. "Excuse me," she said, her voice sharp enough to cut glass. "This is a private class. You need to leave immediately." The man didn't move. His eyes scanned the room, searching for something. Or someone. When he found what he was looking for, his entire body seemed to sag with relief and heartbreak at the same time. "I just need a minute," he said quietly. His voice was hoarse, like he hadn't used it much lately. "Please, just 1 minute." What happened in the next 8 minutes didn't just change that classroom. It went viral across the internet within hours. Millions of people watched. Millions of people cried. And millions of people learned a lesson they would never forget. But to understand this moment, we need to go back. We need to understand who this man was. We need to know his story. Because everyone has a story. And his was one that nobody in that room could have imagined. His name was Isaiah Washington. He was 42 years old, and he was homeless. But that's not who he had always been. That's not even close to who he had been. Westbrook Academy sat in the wealthiest part of the city. Its buildings were pristine, its lawns manicured to perfection. Students arrived in cars that cost more than houses in other neighborhoods. The music program was legendary. They had produced concert pianists, composers, musicians who had performed at Carnegie Hall. The grand piano in Mrs. Henderson's classroom was worth $80,000. Mrs. Patricia Henderson ran that program with an iron fist. She was brilliant, demanding, and absolutely unforgiving of anything less than perfection. She had built the program's reputation over 3 decades. She was respected, feared, and known for being able to spot true talent within minutes of hearing someone play. She was also known for having no patience for excuses, no tolerance for disruption, and absolutely no sympathy for people she considered beneath the standards of Westbrook Academy. The students in her advanced class that Tuesday afternoon were the best of the best. 17 and 18-year-olds who had been playing piano since they could walk. Students whose parents paid for private lessons with world-class instructors. Students who practiced 4, 5, 6 hours a day. Among them was a girl named Emma Wilson. She was 17, with dark skin and intelligent eyes that seemed older than her years. She sat in the 3rd row, her sheet music perfectly organized in front of her. She was one of Mrs. Henderson's favorite students. Talented, disciplined, never late, never unprepared. Emma had no idea that her entire world was about to shatter and rebuild itself in the span of a single afternoon. None of them did. Isaiah stood in that doorway, and all he could see was Emma. The last time he had seen her, she was 2 years old. She had been laughing, reaching for him, with tiny hands calling him Dada, in that way toddlers do. Now she was 17. A young woman. Beautiful and brilliant, and completely unaware that her father was standing 15 feet away from her. She didn't recognize him. How could she? She had been told he was dead. I said, "Leave." Mrs. Henderson repeated, her voice louder now. "Immediately. Or I will call security." Several students had their phones out now, recording. This was too bizarre not to capture. A homeless man in their music class. This would be all over social media within the hour. Isaiah took one step into the room. Just one. "I'm not here to cause trouble," he said. His eyes never left Emma. "I just need to speak to someone, just for a minute. Then I'll go. I promise." "You'll go now," Ms. Henderson said. She was already reaching for the phone on her desk. "Security will escort you out if you don't leave voluntarily." Emma watched this exchange with the same detached curiosity as everyone else. She felt a tiny flicker of pity for the man, the way you might feel sorry for a stray dog. But mostly she felt uncomfortable, unsafe. She wanted him gone. "Please," Isaiah said, and his voice cracked. "I haven't seen my daughter in 15 years. I just want to talk to her. 5 minutes. That's all I'm asking." The classroom erupted in whispers and nervous laughter. "Daughter. Here." This was getting even weirder. Mrs. Henderson's hand hovered over the phone. "Your daughter," she said slowly, her tone dripping with skepticism. "Your daughter is a student here. At Westbrook Academy." "Yes," Isaiah said. "That's impossible," Mrs. Henderson said flatly. "Our students come from respected families. Families with means. Families who can afford tuition that costs $60,000 a year. You expect me to believe that a homeless man has a daughter enrolled here?" The cruelty in her words hung in the air. Several students laughed. Not mean laughter exactly, just uncomfortable amusement. The kind of laughter that happens when people don't know what else to do. Isaiah's jaw tightened. He had expected this. He had prepared himself for this. But it still hurt. God, it still hurt. "Her name is Emma," he said quietly. "Emma Wilson. She's 17. She's in this class." Every head turned to look at Emma. Emma's face went bright red. She shook her head immediately. "I don't know this man," she said quickly. "I've never seen him before in my life. My father died when I was little." Isaiah's heart broke all over again, but he understood. Of course she didn't know him. Of course she thought he was dead. Sarah would have told her that. It was easier than explaining the truth. "Emma," he started to say. "Don't talk to me," Emma said, her voice sharp with fear and anger. "I don't know who you are, but you need to leave. Now." Mrs. Henderson smiled. It was not a kind smile. "You see, you've disturbed my class with your delusions. Now leave before I have you arrested for trespassing." Isaiah stood there, frozen. He had imagined this moment 1,000 times, 1,000 different ways it could go. But in none of those imaginations had it gone like this. He hadn't expected Emma to know him immediately, but he had hoped for something. Some flicker of recognition, some chance to explain. Instead, she was looking at him like he was a threat. "I can prove it," Isaiah said desperately. "I can prove I'm her father. Just give me a chance." "I'm calling security," Mrs. Henderson said, picking up the phone. "Wait," Isaiah said. An idea came to him. A terrible, humiliating idea. But it was the only chance he had. "What if I play Mrs. Henderson?" Paused, her finger hovering over the dial button. "What?" "The piano," Isaiah said, gesturing to the magnificent grand piano at the front of the room. "Let me play something. If I can play, if I can prove I'm not just some random homeless person, will you give me 5 minutes to talk to Emma? That's all. 5 minutes. Then I'll leave. I'll never bother any of you again." Mrs. Henderson's eyes narrowed. This was interesting. Cruel, but interesting. She looked at the piano, then at Isaiah, then at her students. They were all watching with rapt attention now. This was better than any lesson she could have taught. "You want to play my piano?" she said slowly. "This piano that costs more than you've probably seen in your entire life." "Yes," Isaiah said. "And you think you can play well enough to impress me, to prove you're worthy of 5 minutes of my time?" "I can try," Isaiah said. Mrs. Henderson considered this. A smile spread across her face. Not a warm smile, a predatory smile. This would be entertaining. Watching this homeless man embarrass himself in front of her best students. It would also be a lesson about knowing your place, about understanding that talent and breeding mattered, about how the world really worked. "Fine," she said. "Play. If you can play anything at a level I deem acceptable, I'll give you your 5 minutes. But when you fail, you leave immediately and never come back." "Agreed," Isaiah nodded. "Agreed." "Good," Mrs. Henderson said. She gestured grandly to the piano bench. "Please, show us what you can do." The students shifted in their seats. Some were already giggling. This was absurd. This homeless man was going to sit at an $80,000 piano and probably peck out chopsticks or something equally pathetic. A few students had their phones up ready to capture the moment. This would get so many views. Emma felt sick. She didn't know why this man was fixated on her, but she wanted this over with. She wanted him gone. The way he looked at her made her deeply uncomfortable. Isaiah walked slowly to the piano. His hands were shaking. Not from fear, from something else. Something the students couldn't see. Something that had haunted him for 15 years. He sat down on the bench. The leather was smooth and expensive under him. He hadn't sat at a piano in 15 years, hadn't touched keys in 15 years, hadn't played a single note in 15 years. The last time he had played, his hands had been steady. His mind had been clear. His future had been bright. Now his hands trembled. Now his mind was scarred. Now his future was a question mark. He looked down at the keys. 88 keys. Black and white. Perfect and pristine. He placed his hands over them. They shook so badly he had to pull them back. The students laughed louder now. Mrs. Henderson's smile widened. "Whenever you're ready," she said sweetly. "We don't have all day." Isaiah closed his eyes. He thought about Emma, about Sarah, about everything he had lost, everything he had sacrificed, everything he had survived. He took a deep breath, and he began to play. To understand what happened next, you need to know who Isaiah had been. Not the broken man sitting at that piano, but the man he was before the war, before the trauma, before everything fell apart. Isaiah Washington had been a prodigy. He grew up in a small town in North Carolina. His mother cleaned houses for wealthy families. His father worked construction. They had almost nothing. But what they did have was an old, beaten-up piano that someone had donated to their church. Isaiah was 4 years old the first time he touched it. The pastor let him stay after services, let him press the keys, let him discover that he could make sounds. Beautiful sounds. By the time he was 6, he was playing hymns from memory. By 8, he was teaching himself classical pieces he heard on the radio. By 10, he had played every piece in the church's small music library. A music teacher at his school noticed. She was young, fresh out of college, and she recognized something special. She started giving him lessons for free. She bought him sheet music with her own money. She entered him in competitions. He won. Every single time. He won. By the time Isaiah was 16, he had a full scholarship to Juilliard. Juilliard, the most prestigious music school in the country, maybe the world. A kid from nowhere with nothing was going to study piano at Juilliard. His parents cried when he got the acceptance letter. His mother said it was a miracle. His father said it was hard work. Isaiah knew it was both. He thrived at Juilliard. He was one of the youngest students in his program, but he was also one of the best. Professors called him gifted. Other students called him a genius. He practiced 8 hours a day, 10 hours, 12. He lived and breathed music. And then in his second year, he met Sarah. She was a violinist. Brilliant, beautiful, with a laugh that made him forget every piece of music he had ever learned. They fell in love the way young artists do, intensely, completely, without reservation. They got married the week after Isaiah graduated. He was 21. She was 22. Everyone said they were too young, too impulsive, that it wouldn't last. They didn't care. They were in love. They were talented. They were going to take the music world by storm together. Isaiah got offers immediately. Performances, teaching positions, recording contracts. His future was limitless. And then Sarah got pregnant. Emma was born on a Tuesday in April, 7 pounds 3 ounces, perfect in every way. Isaiah held her for the first time and felt his heart expand in a way he didn't know was possible. He was a father now. That meant something. That meant he needed to provide, really provide. Not just scrape by on performance fees and teaching gigs. He needed stability, security, a real income. The problem was classical pianists didn't make much money, not unless you were at the very top. And Isaiah, as talented as he was, wasn't at the very top yet. He was good, maybe great, but not legendary, not yet. He and Sarah did the math. Rent in New York, diapers, formula, doctor visits. There wasn't enough. There was never enough. Sarah's parents offered to help, but they had conditions. They wanted Sarah to move back home to Connecticut. They wanted Isaiah to get a real job. They had never approved of their daughter marrying a musician, especially one from his background. Isaiah refused. He would provide for his family. He would find a way. That's when the recruiter called. The Army was offering signing bonuses, $40,000, plus a salary, plus benefits, plus housing, plus medical care for Sarah and Emma. All he had to do was enlist, serve 4 years. Then he could come back to music, back to his family, back to his life. 4 years. That was nothing. He was 22. He'd be 26 when he got out. Still young, still talented. And his family would be taken care of. Sarah begged him not to go. She didn't care about the money. They would figure it out. But Isaiah had made up his mind. He was a father, a husband, a man. Men provided for their families. He signed the papers. Basic training was hard, but Isaiah got through it. He wasn't the strongest recruit, wasn't the fastest. But he was disciplined. Music had taught him discipline. Practice had taught him how to push through pain, through exhaustion, through doubt. He finished training. He came home for 2 weeks. Emma was 6 months old now. She smiled at him, reached for him. He played piano for her every night before bed. Lullabies, simple melodies. She would fall asleep in Sarah's arms while he played. Those 2 weeks were the happiest of his life. And then he deployed to Iraq. The things Isaiah saw in Iraq changed him. The things he did changed him. The things that happened to him changed him in ways that couldn't be undone. He served for 18 months before the IED hit his convoy. He survived. 3 of his friends didn't. Isaiah walked away with a concussion shrapnel wounds in his left arm and shoulder and something invisible that the doctors called traumatic brain injury and post-traumatic stress disorder. They sent him home. Honorable discharge. Medical benefits. A Purple Heart. Gratitude from a grateful nation. But Isaiah wasn't whole anymore. His hands shook. Not all the time, but enough. Enough that he couldn't play the way he used to. Couldn't trust his fingers to hit the right keys at the right time. One wrong note could ruin an entire piece. One tremor could destroy a performance. He tried. God, he tried. He practiced for hours the way he used to. But it wasn't the same. The music was still in his head. He could hear it perfectly. But his body wouldn't cooperate. His hands betrayed him. His nerves betrayed him. The nightmares were worse. He would wake up screaming, wake up crying, wake up convinced he was still in Iraq, still under fire, still watching his friends die. Sarah tried to help. She researched therapies, found support groups, made him appointments with doctors. But Isaiah didn't want help. He wanted to be who he was before. He wanted to be the man she married. The father Emma deserved. He started drinking. Just a little at first. Just enough to stop the shaking. Just enough to quiet the nightmares. Just enough to sleep. But it was never just enough. Within a year, Isaiah had lost every job he tried to hold. Within 2 years, he had pushed away every friend he had. Within 3 years, Sarah told him she couldn't do it anymore. She couldn't watch him destroy himself. She had to protect Emma. She filed for divorce. She got full custody. She moved back to Connecticut with her parents. And she told Emma that Daddy had died. It was easier than explaining that Daddy was broken. That Daddy was dangerous to himself. That Daddy couldn't be part of their lives anymore. Isaiah didn't fight it. How could he? She was right. Emma deserved better. Sarah deserved better. The divorce was finalized on Emma's 4th birthday. Isaiah signed the papers in a VA hospital waiting room. He was there for another attempt at treatment. Another program that was supposed to fix him. It didn't. He left the hospital 3 days later. He left the city a week after that. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. He just disappeared. For 15 years, Isaiah Washington disappeared. He drifted from city to city, shelter to shelter. Some nights he slept on benches. Some nights he slept in churches. Some nights he didn't sleep at all. He didn't touch a piano. Couldn't. Every time he saw one, every time he heard music, it reminded him of everything he had lost, everything he had been, everything he could never be again. He survived. Barely. There were times he didn't want to survive. Times he stood on bridges or held pills in his hand and thought about ending it. But something always stopped him. Some small voice that said maybe someday things could be different. 15 years. 15 years of being invisible. Of being nothing. Of being someone people crossed the street to avoid. And then 6 months ago, Isaiah saw Emma. He was in the city. He didn't even know it was the same city where Sarah's parents lived. He was just passing through looking for a shelter that supposedly had open beds. He was walking past a coffee shop when he saw her through the window. She was with friends, laughing, studying. She had Sarah's smile. She had his eyes. She was 17 years old, beautiful, healthy, happy. Isaiah stood outside that coffee shop for 2 hours just watching her, just grateful she existed, just grateful she was okay. He didn't approach her. What would he say? "Hi, I'm the father you think is dead. "Hi, I'm the homeless man who abandoned you." But he couldn't stop thinking about her. For 15 years he had convinced himself she was better off without him, that she didn't need him, that she had forgotten him. But she was his daughter, his little girl, and he had missed every moment of her life. Isaiah started following her, not in a creepy way, just watching from a distance, learning about her life. He found out she went to Westbrook Academy, that she was a pianist, a good one, that she was in the advanced music program. Of course she was. She was his daughter. Isaiah made a decision. He would see her, just once, just to tell her he was sorry, to tell her he loved her, to tell her that leaving was the biggest mistake of his life. He practiced what he would say, planned how he would approach her, waited for the right moment. And then today, he had walked into that music classroom. He hadn't expected Mrs. Henderson, hadn't expected the humiliation, hadn't expected Emma to reject him so completely. But here he was, sitting at a piano for the first time in 15 years, his hands shaking, his heart breaking, his last chance slipping away. He took a deep breath, and he began to play. The first note was wrong. Isaiah's index finger hit the key too hard, and the sound came out harsh and discordant. He flinched. Several students laughed out loud. Mrs. Henderson's expression was triumphant. Perhaps this isn't such a good idea after... But Isaiah didn't stop. He placed his hands back on the keys, took another breath, and tried again. This time the note was right. Soft, clear, perfect. And then another note, and another. The laughter died away. Isaiah's hands were still shaking. You could see it if you watched closely. The tremor in his fingers, the slight hesitation before each key press. But the notes that came out were beautiful. He was playing Clair de Lune by Debussy, one of the most famous piano pieces ever written, one of the most beautiful. It was also the piece Sarah had loved most, the piece he had played for her the night he proposed, the piece he used to play while she held infant Emma in her arms. Mrs. Henderson's smile faltered. This wasn't supposed to happen. Homeless people didn't play Debussy. They didn't understand music theory. They didn't have the technical skill required for classical piano. But Isaiah was playing it, and he was playing it well. The students leaned forward in their seats. The phones that had been out to mock were now recording in amazement. This wasn't funny anymore. This was something else entirely. Emma stared at the man at the piano. Something about the way he played felt familiar. The way his shoulders hunched slightly when he concentrated. The way his head tilted to the left. She couldn't place it. But it nagged at her. Isaiah's fingers found their rhythm. Muscle memory kicked in. His body remembered what his mind had tried to forget. 15 years melted away. He was 21 again. Sitting in a practice room at Juilliard, playing for hours, losing himself in the music. The shaking in his hands didn't stop completely, but it didn't matter anymore. He played through it, adjusted for it, made it part of the music. Clair de Lune is not a fast piece. It's contemplative, melancholy, beautiful in its sadness. Isaiah poured 15 years of pain into it. 15 years of loneliness. 15 years of regret. The classroom was absolutely silent except for the piano. Mrs. Henderson stood frozen by her desk. She had taught piano for 35 years. She had heard this piece performed hundreds of times. By students, by professionals, by concert pianists. This was different. This wasn't just technical proficiency. This wasn't just hitting the right notes at the right time. This was emotion. raw, unfiltered emotion. This was pain transformed into beauty, suffering transformed into art. Whoever this man was, he wasn't just some homeless person. He was a musician, a real musician. Isaiah's hands moved across the keys with increasing confidence. The tremor was still there, but it didn't control him anymore. He controlled it. He played through it, around it. He made it serve the music instead of ruining it. His eyes were closed now. He wasn't in that classroom anymore. He was somewhere else. Somewhere in his memory. Somewhere before everything went wrong. He transitioned from Clair de Lune into another piece without stopping. Für Elise by Beethoven. One of the most recognizable pieces in classical music. Simple in structure, devastatingly beautiful when played right. This was the piece he had played for Emma when she was a baby. The piece he used to play every night to help her sleep. Over and over. The same melody, the same gentle rhythm. She had been too young to remember. At least that's what he thought. But Emma's entire body went rigid in her seat. She knew this piece. Of course she knew it. Everyone knew Für Elise. But there was something about the way this man played it, the specific timing, the specific emphasis on certain notes, the way he slowed down at particular phrases. A memory flickered in the back of her mind, not a clear memory. She had been too young for clear memories, but something deeper, something primal, a feeling of safety, of warmth, of being held while music played, of someone singing softly while they played, words she couldn't quite remember, a voice she couldn't quite place. Her breath caught in her throat. She looked at the man more closely, really looked at him, past the dirty clothes, past the unkempt beard, past the weathered skin. His hands. Something about his hands. There was a scar on his left forearm, a long, jagged scar that ran from his wrist almost to his elbow. She could see it clearly as his fingers moved across the keys. Emma's mother had a photograph. One photograph she had kept from before Emma's father died. In it, a young black man in an army uniform held a tiny baby. He was smiling. There was a scar on his left forearm. Emma had asked about it once. Her mother had said it was from an accident, from the war, from the thing that had killed him. But he hadn't died in the war. Emma's heart started racing. No, it couldn't be. It was impossible. But the way he played, the scar, the way he had looked at her when he first walked in, like she was the only person in the world, like seeing her was both the best and worst thing that had ever happened to him. Emma's hands started shaking. Isaiah continued playing. He wasn't showing off, wasn't trying to impress anyone with speed or complexity. He was just playing, honestly, beautifully, from somewhere deep inside himself that he had locked away for 15 years. Mrs. Henderson slowly sat down in her chair. She didn't know what to say, didn't know what to think. This was beyond anything she had expected, beyond anything she could have imagined. The students watched in complete silence. Some had tears in their eyes. They didn't know why. They didn't know this man's story, but they could feel it in the music, could feel the pain, the longing, the desperate hope. Isaiah finished Für Elise and transitioned into a third piece. This one nobody recognized, because nobody had ever heard it before. He had written it himself, 20 years ago, when Sarah was pregnant with Emma, before he had joined the army, before everything fell apart. It was a lullaby, a promise, a love letter to a daughter he hadn't met yet. a piece he had never performed for anyone except Sarah, a piece he had titled Emma's Song. He had forgotten he even wrote it. The sheet music was long gone, lost somewhere in the chaos of the past 15 years. But his hands remembered. His heart remembered. The melody was simple, gentle. The kind of music you play when you're holding something precious and fragile and perfect. Emma recognized it. Not consciously, not in a way she could explain, but somewhere deep in her cells, somewhere in the part of the brain that stores the earliest memories, the memories before language, before thought. She had heard this before. When she was so small, that sound and touch and warmth were all the same thing. She stood up from her seat. Her chair scraped loudly against the floor, but nobody looked at her. Everyone was watching the man at the piano. Emma took a step forward, then another. Her mind was screaming that this was impossible, that her father was dead, that her mother wouldn't have lied to her for 15 years, that this couldn't be real. But her heart knew different. Isaiah played the final notes of the lullaby. His hands were shaking badly now, not from the tremor, from emotion, from the weight of what he was doing, what he was risking. The last note faded into silence. For 3 seconds, nobody moved. Nobody breathed. And then Emma's voice, small and broken and filled with a lifetime of questions, cut through the silence. That Isaiah's hands froze on the keys. He didn't turn around immediately. He couldn't. If he turned around, and she hadn't really said it if he had imagined it, if this was just another hallucination brought on by hope and desperation, he didn't think he could survive it. Dad. Emma said again, louder this time. Her voice was shaking. Is that you? Slowly, Isaiah turned on the piano bench. Emma was standing in the middle of the classroom. Tears were streaming down her face. Her hands were covering her mouth. She was staring at him like he was a ghost, which in a way he was. Emma, Isaiah whispered. His voice broke on her name. The classroom erupted, students talking over each other, gasping, some crying. Mrs. Henderson standing up, confusion and shock written across her face. But Isaiah only saw Emma. She looked so much like Sarah. Same eyes, same face shape. But she had his cheekbones, his hands, his height. You're dead, Emma said. Mom said you died. In the war. You died. I know, Isaiah said. I know that's what she told you. I know that's what you believe. But Emma, baby girl, I'm not dead. I'm right here. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Emma shook her head violently. No. This doesn't make sense. This can't be real. You can't be my father. My father was a soldier. He was a hero. He died serving his country. You're... She couldn't finish the sentence. Couldn't say homeless. Couldn't say broken. Couldn't reconcile the father she had imagined her whole life with the man standing in front of her. I was a soldier, Isaiah said quietly. I did serve. And I came back. But I came back wrong, Emma. I came back broken. And I couldn't be the father you deserved. So your mother, she did what she thought was best. She told you I died so you wouldn't have to see me like this. So you wouldn't have to know what I became. Mrs. Henderson finally found her voice. Mr. Washington, I think... My name is Isaiah Washington, he said, not taking his eyes off Emma. I was born in Raleigh, North Carolina. I graduated from Juilliard in 2007 with a degree in piano performance. I married Sarah Chen in 2007, and on April 14, 2008, My daughter Emma Marie Washington was born. She weighed 7 pounds 3 ounces. She had a birthmark on her left shoulder blade shaped like a crescent moon. When she cried, I played piano for her, and she would stop crying and just listen. Emma's hand went unconsciously to her left shoulder. She did have a birthmark there. She had always had it. Her mother said it was just one of those things, just a random quirk of genetics. But how would this man know about it unless... "The song you just played," Emma said. Her voice was barely audible. "The last one." "What was it called?" "Emma's Song," Isaiah said. "I wrote it before you were born. I played it for you every night. It was our song, just ours." Emma's legs gave out. She didn't fall. She just slowly sank to the floor, her back against a desk, her whole body shaking with sobs. "I don't understand," she cried. "I don't understand any of this. Why would Mom lie? Why would you let her? Where have you been? Why didn't you come find me?" Isaiah stood up from the piano bench. He took one step toward her, then stopped. He didn't know if she wanted him close, didn't know if he had the right to comfort her. "I didn't let her lie," he said. "I agreed with her. Emma, when I came back from Iraq, I wasn't safe. I wasn't stable. I was having nightmares so bad I'd wake up fighting invisible enemies. I was drinking to cope. I was destroying myself. And your mother, she tried to help me. She tried so hard, but I pushed her away. I pushed everyone away. And when she said she was taking you and leaving, when she said it was better if you thought I was dead, I knew she was right. You deserved a father who could be there for you, who could protect you, who could be stable and present and whole. I couldn't be that person. I tried. God, I tried. But I couldn't." He paused. Tears were running down his face now, too. "So I let her go. I let you go. Because I loved you too much to let you see what I'd become. And for 15 years, I told myself you were better off, that you were happy, that you had a good life. And that was enough. It had to be enough." "Then why now?" Emma asked. "Why show up now? Why ruin everything?" "Because 6 months ago I saw you," Isaiah said. "By accident. In a coffee shop. And Emma, you looked so much like your mother. So beautiful. So alive. And I realized I had missed your entire life. Every birthday. Every milestone. Every moment. And I couldn't live with that anymore. I couldn't die without you knowing that I existed, that I loved you, that not a single day went by that I didn't think about you." The classroom was dead silent. 20 students and 1 teacher watching a father and daughter confront 15 years of lies and pain and missed time. Emma wiped her eyes with her sleeve. "You've been homeless for 15 years?" Isaiah nodded. "More or less. Some times were better than others. But yes, mostly homeless. And you haven't played piano at all. Not until today." "I couldn't. Every time I tried, every time I even thought about it, all I could think about was everything I lost. The music was tied to the pain, so I just stopped." "But you played today," Emma said. "For me." "Yes," Isaiah said simply. "For you. To prove to Mrs. Henderson that I wasn't just some random person, that I had a right to talk to you, that I deserved 5 minutes of your time. It was the only thing I had left to offer. The only proof I could give that I was telling the truth." Emma looked at Mrs. Henderson. The teacher looked like she had been slapped. All her earlier confidence, all her cruel certainty was gone. She looked old suddenly, and very, very ashamed. "I apologize," Mrs. Henderson said quietly. "I should not have. I had no right to treat you the way I did. I made assumptions. Terrible assumptions. I'm sorry." Isaiah nodded. He didn't say it was okay. It wasn't okay. But he understood. He looked the way he looked. The world judged people like him. He had gotten used to it. He turned back to Emma. "You have every right to hate me. To tell me to leave and never come back? I would understand. I would respect that. But Emma, I need you to know that I love you. I have always loved you. And I am so proud of the person you've become. Your mother did an amazing job raising you, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful you had her. I'm grateful you didn't have to see me at my worst." Emma stood up slowly. She wiped her face again. Looked at this man who claimed to be her father. This broken, homeless man who had just played piano more beautifully than she had ever heard anyone play. "I need time," she said finally. "I need to process this. I need to talk to my mom. I need to understand what's real and what's not." "Of course," Isaiah said immediately. "Take all the time you need. I just wanted you to know. That's all. Just to know that I'm alive, that I never stopped loving you." He turned to leave. "Wait," Emma said. He stopped. "Play something else," she said. "Please. One more piece. I need to hear it again, to make sure it's real." Isaiah looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded. He walked back to the piano, sat down, placed his hands on the keys, and he played. This time, Isaiah didn't choose something famous, didn't choose something safe and classical and appropriate for a high school music class. He played jazz. It was a piece by Thelonious Monk. Round Midnight, one of the most famous jazz compositions ever written. Complex, improvisational, impossible to play without understanding music at a level most people never reached. Isaiah's hands flew across the keys. The tremor didn't matter anymore. It became part of the music, part of the rhythm. Jazz was about imperfection, about taking mistakes and turning them into art, about finding beauty in the broken places. His left hand laid down a walking bass line while his right hand danced through the melody. He added runs and trills and grace notes that weren't in the original composition, made it his own, made it new. Mrs. Henderson sat down heavily in her chair. She taught classical piano, but she knew jazz when she heard it. And this was jazz played at a level that most professional musicians couldn't match. Who was this man? Emma stood transfixed. She had never heard piano played like this. Never heard so much emotion and skill and raw talent combined into something so overwhelming. This was her father. Her father who was supposed to be dead. Her father who was homeless and broken and lost. Her father who could play like angels wept. Isaiah transitioned from Monk into Duke Ellington. Then from Ellington into Art Tatum. Then from Tatum into something original. Something he was composing on the spot, improvisation at its purest. Creating music out of nothing but feeling and memory and hope, the students recorded on their phones. But they weren't mocking anymore. They were documenting, preserving. They knew they were witnessing something special, something that would never happen again in quite this way. Emma walked closer to the piano, slowly, like approaching a wild animal. Like if she moved too fast, he might disappear. She could see his hands now, really see them. They were scarred, rough. The hands of someone who had lived hard and suffered much. But they moved across the keys with a grace that seemed impossible. "Where did you learn to play like this?" she asked. Isaiah didn't stop playing, just answered while his hands continued their dance. "Juilliard for the classical. But jazz, I taught myself. Growing up, we couldn't afford lessons. But I would listen to records. Old vinyl, Thelonious Monk, Miles Davis, John Coltrane. I'd listen to the same song 50 times until I could play it by ear. Jazz was freedom. In classical music, you played what was written. In jazz, you could make it your own. Did you ever perform professionally? Some. Not as much as I wanted to. I was planning to. After I got back from the army, Sarah and I were going to move to New Orleans. I was going to play in clubs. She was going to teach violin. We had it all planned out. What happened, Isaiah's playing slowed, became softer, more melancholic. The war happened. The IED happened. The brain injury happened. The PTSD happened. And suddenly I couldn't trust my hands anymore, couldn't trust my mind. You can't play jazz when you're not sure if what you're hearing is real music or just the sound of explosions in your memory. He stopped playing, put his hands in his lap, looked at them like they belonged to someone else. I tried to come back to it. I did. I practiced for hours. But every time I made a mistake, every time my hands shook at the wrong moment, I would spiral. I would get angry. I would hate myself for being broken. And eventually it was easier to just stop, to give up, to accept that I wasn't a musician anymore. I was just someone who used to be a musician. Emma sat down on the piano bench next to him. Not close. There was still 2 feet of space between them, but closer than she had been. "You're still a musician," she said quietly. "What you just played? That was incredible. That was better than anything I've ever heard in this classroom, better than anything Mrs. Henderson has ever taught us." Mrs. Henderson made a small noise. It might have been agreement, might have been protest. She didn't seem sure herself. "Thank you," Isaiah said. "But Emma, you need to understand, I'm not the man I used to be. I can play piano. That part of me survived. But everything else, I'm not stable. I'm not safe. I live in shelters, sometimes on the street. I don't have a job, don't have a home, don't have anything except the clothes on my back and a lot of regrets." "Why?" Emma asked. "Why are you still homeless? Can't the VA help? Can't someone help?" Isaiah laughed. It was a bitter sound. "The VA tries, but there are thousands of veterans like me. Tens of thousands. The system is overwhelmed, underfunded. I've been on waiting lists for housing for 3 years. I've been to every program they offer. Some help for a while, but nothing sticks. PTSD isn't something you cure. It's something you manage. And I haven't been very good at managing it." "You could have called, Mom," Emma said. "You could have asked for help." And said what? "Hey Sarah, remember me? The man you divorced because I was destroying our family. Can I move in? Can you support me while I figure out my life?" She moved on, Emma. She remarried. She built a new life. I couldn't ask her to tear that down because I couldn't get my act together. She remarried, Emma asked. Isaiah looked confused. "Didn't she? Your last name is Wilson." I assumed. "That's her maiden name," Emma said. "She went back to it after the divorce. She never remarried. It's just been us, me and her." Isaiah looked stunned. "She's been alone for 15 years. She dated sometimes, but nothing serious. She always said she had me and that was enough, that she didn't need anyone else." Something flickered across Isaiah's face. Pain. Regret. Hope. It was hard to tell. "I should go," he said. "I've disrupted your class enough, and you need time to process, to talk to your mother, to figure out what you want to do about all this." He stood up from the bench. Emma stood up too. "Wait. Give me your number, or an email, or some way to reach you." Isaiah smiled sadly. "I don't have a phone, or an email, or a permanent address." "Then how do I find you?" "There's a shelter on Maple Street, St. Catherine's. I stay there most nights when they have room. You can leave a message for me there. They'll make sure I get it." "St. Catherine's," Emma repeated. "Okay, I'll think about everything, and I'll contact you, I promise. You don't owe me anything, Isaiah said. Not a conversation, not forgiveness, not anything. I just wanted you to know the truth. That's all I came here for. He walked toward the door. Every student watched him go. Nobody laughed now. Nobody smiled. They had just witnessed something profound, something that would stay with them for the rest of their lives. Isaiah paused at the door, turned back to look at Emma one more time. I'm proud of you, he said. So proud. You're everything I hoped you would be. Everything I dreamed you could be. And whatever happens next, whatever you decide, I want you to know that. You're my greatest accomplishment. Not the music, not Juilliard, not anything else. You. Just you. Then he left. The door closed behind him with a soft click. For 10 seconds, nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Then Emma collapsed back onto the piano bench and put her head in her hands and sobbed. Mrs. Henderson approached slowly, put a hand on Emma's shoulder. I think she said quietly, "We're done for today." Class dismissed. All of you. The students gathered their things silently. A few came over to Emma, hugged her, said kind things. Then they left. Soon it was just Emma and Mrs. Henderson in the room. "He's really your father," Mrs. Henderson said. It wasn't a question. "I think so," Emma said through her tears. "I don't know. I need to talk to my mom. But the things he knew, the scar, the way he played. It has to be him." "What are you going to do?" "I don't know," Emma said honestly. "I don't know anything anymore." Mrs. Henderson was quiet for a moment. Then she said, "For what it's worth, I've been teaching piano for 35 years. I've heard thousands of students, hundreds of professionals, and what your father played today, that was some of the most beautiful music I've ever heard. He's not just talented, he's extraordinary." Emma looked up at her teacher. "But he's homeless. He's broken. He's been gone my entire life." "Yes," Mrs. Henderson agreed. "And none of that changes the fact that he loves you. I saw it in his face, heard it in his music. That man walked into this room willing to humiliate himself, to be mocked and rejected just for a chance to tell you he's alive. Just for 5 minutes of your time. That's not nothing, Emma." "What am I supposed to do with that?" Emma asked. "I don't know," Mrs. Henderson said honestly. "But I do know this. He gave you a gift today. The truth. What you do with that truth is up to you. But don't make the decision in anger or fear. Make it when you're ready. When you've had time to think. When you've had time to understand." Emma nodded. She didn't trust herself to speak. She sat at the piano for a long time after Mrs. Henderson left. Just sat there, looking at the keys, thinking about her father's hands on those same keys, thinking about everything she thought she knew, and how wrong it all was. Finally, she took out her phone, called her mother. "Mom," she said when Sarah answered. "We need to talk. About Dad. About the truth." There was a long silence on the other end of the line. Then quietly her mother said, "I know. Come home. I'll tell you everything." Emma drove home in a daze. The 20-minute drive felt like hours. Her mind kept replaying the afternoon. Her father's face, his hands on the piano, the music, the scar, the way he looked at her like she was the most precious thing in the world. Her father was alive. Her father was homeless. Her father was a musical genius. Her father had been gone for 15 years. None of it made sense. All of it hurt. Sarah was waiting when Emma got home. She was sitting on the couch in the living room, a photo album open on her lap. The album Emma had never been allowed to look at. The one Sarah kept in the back of her closet. "Show me," Emma said without preamble. "Show me everything." Sarah nodded, patted the couch next to her. Emma sat. Sarah opened the album to the first page. There he was, younger, healthier, smiling, but unmistakably the same man who had walked into her music class that afternoon. "That's him?" Sarah said softly. "That's Isaiah, your father." Emma stared at the photos. Isaiah in a cap and gown, Isaiah at a piano, Isaiah holding a baby, holding her. "You told me he was dead," Emma said. Her voice was flat, controlled. "I did," Sarah admitted. Why? Sarah took a deep breath. Because it was easier than the truth. Easier than explaining that your father came back from the war broken, that he had PTSD and traumatic brain injury and he was drinking himself to death. Easier than telling you that he loved you but couldn't be around you because he wasn't safe. Not for himself. Not for us. You should have told me the truth. "You were 4 years old," Sarah said. How do you explain mental illness to a 4-year-old? How do you explain that Daddy is sick in a way that medicine can't fix? That Daddy loves you, but being around you hurts him too much because it reminds him of everything he's lost. I made a choice, Emma. Maybe it was the wrong choice, but I made it to protect you. From what? From pain, from confusion, from watching your father destroy himself. I saw what it did to him. The nightmares, the flashbacks, the drinking. He would wake up screaming. He punched a hole in the wall once because he thought someone was breaking in. He was getting worse, not better. And I had to protect you. That was my job. To protect you. So you told me he was dead. So I told you he was a hero who died in the war. Because that's partially true. He was a hero. He did serve. And the man I married did die over there. What came back was someone else. Someone in pain. Someone suffering. I tried to help him. God, Emma, I tried so hard. But he wouldn't let me. He pushed me away. He pushed everyone away. Sarah closed the album, looked at her daughter. When I filed for divorce, when I told him I was taking you and moving back to Connecticut, he didn't fight me. He agreed. He said you deserved better. He signed the papers without even reading them. And when I asked him if he wanted visitation rights, he said no. He said it would be better if he just disappeared, better if you thought he was gone, so you could move on, so you could have a normal life. That wasn't his choice to make, Emma said. No, Sarah agreed. It wasn't. It was mine and his, and we made it together. Maybe it was wrong, but it felt right at the time. He's been homeless for 15 years, Emma said. Living in shelters, on the street. Did you know that Sarah's face crumpled? No. I didn't know. I thought he would get help. I thought the VA would take care of him. I thought he would find his way back to music, find some kind of stability. I never thought, she trailed off, wiped her eyes. I never thought it would get that bad. He saw me 6 months ago, Emma said. By accident. And he couldn't stay away anymore. He came to my school today. Mrs. Henderson was going to call security to have him arrested for trespassing, so he made a deal. He said if he could play piano, if he could prove he wasn't just some random homeless person, she would give him 5 minutes to talk to me. And Sarah asked. And he played. Emma's voice broke. Mom, he played like nothing I've ever heard, like an angel, like a god. He hasn't touched a piano in 15 years and he played like it was the most natural thing in the world. Everyone in the class was crying. Mrs. Henderson apologized. It was... She couldn't find words, couldn't describe what it had felt like to hear her father play, to understand for the first time what she had lost, what had been taken from her. He said he wrote a song for me, Emma continued, before I was born. Emma's song. He played it. And Mom, I remembered it. I don't know how. I was so little. But I remembered it. The feeling of it. The safety of it. Sarah was crying now too. He played that for you every night. Every single night. It was the only thing that would calm you down when you were fussy. He would sit at the piano and play, and you would stop crying and just listen. Like you knew it was just for you. They sat in silence for a moment. Both crying. Both processing. "What do I do?" Emma asked, finally. "He wants nothing from me. He said I don't owe him anything, that he just wanted me to know the truth. But Mom, I can't just let him go back to being homeless. I can't just pretend this didn't happen." "What do you want to do?" Sarah asked. "I want to help him. I want to know him. I want to understand who he is, not who he was, not the version of him you knew, but the actual person, the one who walked into my classroom today." Sarah nodded slowly. Okay, Sarah repeated. "If that's what you want, I'll support you. But Emma, you need to understand, your father is not well. He has serious mental health issues. PTSD doesn't just go away. And 15 years of being homeless, of surviving on the streets, that changes a person. He may not be the person you want him to be." "I know," Emma said. "But he's my father. And he's alive. And that matters." Sarah reached over and took her daughter's hand. "Then we'll figure it out. Together. We'll find him. We'll help him. If he'll let us." "He's staying at St. Catherine's shelter," Emma said. "On Maple Street." "I know where that is," Sarah said. "We can go tomorrow, if you want." "I want to go now," Emma said. Sarah looked at her daughter, saw the determination in her eyes, the same determination Isaiah had always had, the same unwillingness to give up. "Okay," she said. "Let's go now." They pulled up to St. Catherine's shelter just as the sun was setting. It was a converted church building, old but well-maintained. There was a line of people outside waiting for dinner service to start. Emma's hands were shaking as they walked to the front desk. A tired-looking woman in her 50s looked up. "Can I help you?" "I'm looking for Isaiah Washington," Emma said. "I was told he stays here sometimes." The woman's expression softened. "Isaiah?" "Yes, he's here. He just checked in about an hour ago." "Are you family?" Emma's voice caught. "I'm his daughter." The woman's eyes widened. "His daughter? Oh, honey, he's going to be so happy. He talks about you sometimes, when he's having a good day. Never by name, just, 'my little girl.' We never knew if you were real or just someone he'd lost touch with." "Can I see him?" Emma asked. "Of course. He's in the common room. Follow me." They walked through narrow hallways, past rooms where people were sleeping on cots, past a kitchen where volunteers were preparing food, past bulletin boards covered in information about job programs and addiction services and mental health resources. The common room was a large space with tables and chairs and a TV on the wall. About 20 people were scattered around, some playing cards, some reading, some just sitting quietly. Isaiah was in the corner, alone, staring at nothing. Isaiah, the shelter worker, called gently. "You have visitors." He looked up, saw Emma and Sarah. His face went through a dozen emotions in 3 seconds. Shock, disbelief, hope, fear. He stood up slowly. "Emma." Emma walked toward him, stopped a few feet away. "Hi." "Hi," Isaiah said. He looked at Sarah. "Sarah, I didn't expect. I never thought." Emma told me everything Sarah said. About today. About the piano. About you. "I'm sorry," Isaiah said immediately. "I'm sorry for showing up like that, for disrupting everything. I just needed her to know. I couldn't die without her knowing. You're not going to die, Emma said firmly. Not if I can help it. Isaiah laughed. It was a sound somewhere between joy and sorrow. Emma, you can't fix this. You can't fix me. Maybe not, Emma said. But I can try. We can try. Me and Mom, we can help you get into programs, get housing, get therapy, whatever you need. Why, Isaiah asked. Why would you do that? You don't even know me. Because you're my father, Emma said simply. And that matters. Isaiah's face crumpled. He covered it with his hands. His shoulders shook with sobs. Emma closed the distance between them, wrapped her arms around him, hugged him tight. Isaiah froze for a second. Then his arms came up. Slowly, carefully, like he was afraid she might break or disappear. I'm so sorry, he whispered into her hair. I'm so sorry for everything. For leaving, for not being there, for all the birthdays I missed, all the moments I wasn't there for. I'm so sorry. I know, Emma said. I know you are. Sarah watched from a few feet away, tears streaming down her face. This man had broken her heart 15 years ago, had destroyed their family, had chosen the bottle over his wife and daughter. But he was also the man she had fallen in love with. The brilliant pianist, the gentle soul, the person who had written her love songs and held their baby daughter with infinite tenderness. Maybe people could change. Maybe people could heal. Maybe it wasn't too late. She walked over, put her hand on Isaiah's shoulder. We're going to help you, she said quietly, if you'll let us. No promises, no guarantees. But we'll try. Isaiah pulled back from Emma, looked at Sarah. I don't deserve this. I don't deserve either of you. Probably not, Sarah said with a small smile. But you're getting us anyway, so deal with it. Isaiah laughed, really laughed. For the first time in 15 years, he felt something that might have been hope. The next 6 months were hard, harder than anyone had expected. Getting Isaiah into housing took 3 months of applications and waiting lists and bureaucratic nightmares. Sarah hired a lawyer who specialized in veterans affairs. Emma spent hours on the phone with VA representatives. They fought for every inch of progress. Finally, Isaiah was approved for a small studio apartment through a veterans housing program. It wasn't much, but it was his. A door he could lock. A bed that was his alone. A window that looked out onto the city. Emma cried when she first saw it. Not because it was nice. It wasn't particularly nice, but because her father had a home. A real home. The therapy was harder. Isaiah had 15 years of untreated PTSD, 15 years of survival mode, 15 years of trauma layered on top of trauma. His first therapist said it would take years to unpack it all. Maybe decades. There were bad days. Days when Isaiah couldn't get out of bed. Days when the nightmares were so bad he couldn't tell what was real. Days when he wanted to give up, to disappear back into the streets, where at least he knew the rules. But Emma came to visit twice a week, every Tuesday and Thursday, without fail. Sometimes they talked. Sometimes they just sat together. Sometimes Emma played piano for him. She was a good pianist, not as good as he had been at her age, but good, really good, and getting better. Sarah came too, less frequently. Their relationship was complicated. Too much history, too much pain. But she came, brought groceries, made sure he was taking his medication. made sure he showed up to his therapy appointments. She didn't love him anymore. Not the way she had when they were young. But she cared. And sometimes that was enough. 3 months after moving into his apartment, Isaiah started teaching again. Not at a prestigious music school, not at a concert hall, at a community center in a low-income neighborhood, teaching piano to kids who couldn't afford lessons anywhere else. He charged nothing, taught whoever wanted to learn, taught kids who had never touched a piano before, taught kids whose parents worked 3 jobs just to keep a roof over their heads. He was good at it, patient, kind. He understood what it meant to have talent, but no opportunity, to have dreams, but no path. The community center director saw him play once, just warming up before a lesson. She asked if he would perform at their annual fundraiser. Nothing fancy, just a short set, maybe 20 minutes. Isaiah said no at first. The thought of performing in front of people terrified him. What if his hands shook? What if he had a panic attack? What if he failed? But Emma convinced him, said she would be there, said she would play with him if that helped. So Isaiah said yes. The fundraiser was held at a small venue downtown, maybe 200 people, local community members, donors, families of the kids who used the center. Isaiah played for 30 minutes, some classical, some jazz, some original compositions. At the end, Emma joined him on the bench. They played Emma's song together, as a duet. There wasn't a dry eye in the room. A video of the performance was posted online. Someone in the audience had recorded it on their phone, posted it with the caption, "Homeless veteran finds his daughter and his music after 15 years." It went viral. Within a week, it had 10 million views, then 20 million, then 50. News outlets picked it up. Local first, then national, then international. The homeless pianist became a human interest story that everyone wanted to cover. Isaiah was offered recording contracts, performance opportunities, teaching positions at prestigious schools. He turned most of them down. He didn't want fame, didn't want to be a story. He just wanted to teach kids piano, wanted to be part of Emma's life, wanted to keep healing. But he did accept one offer. A small record label that specialized in jazz wanted to produce an album. Original compositions. Isaiah's music. No pressure, no deadline, just whenever he was ready. Isaiah started writing music again, for the first time in 15 years. Not every day. Some days the darkness was still too heavy, but some days the music came, and those days were good. Emma started her senior year of high school. She was still at Westbrook Academy, still in the advanced music program. But something had changed. She didn't practice obsessively anymore, didn't push herself to the point of exhaustion. She played for joy now, for the love of it, the way her father had taught her. Mrs. Henderson noticed the change, pulled Emma aside one day after class. "You're playing differently," she said. "I know," Emma replied. "You're playing better," Mrs. Henderson continued. "Not technically. Technically, you're actually a bit sloppier than you were. But emotionally, Emma, you're playing with your heart now, not just your hands. That's the difference between a good pianist and a great one." Emma smiled. "My dad told me something similar. He said technique can be taught, but soul has to be lived." "Your father is a wise man," Mrs. Henderson said. "He is," Emma agreed. She was accepted to Juilliard that spring, full scholarship, the same school her father had attended 20 years earlier. Isaiah cried when she told him. happy tears, proud tears. "You're going to be amazing," he said. "You're going to be everything I never was. I'm going to be me," Emma corrected. "Not you, not anyone else. Just me." "Even better," Isaiah said. 6 months became a year. A year became 2. Isaiah's apartment slowly filled with small signs of life. Photos on the wall, books on the shelf, a keyboard in the corner that Emma had bought him. Nothing expensive, nothing fancy, just enough. He still had bad days. Days when the PTSD won, when the nightmares came back, when he couldn't leave the apartment because the world outside felt too dangerous. But he also had good days. Days when he taught piano to a child who had never had a lesson before and watched their face light up when they played their first chord. Days when Emma came over and they cooked dinner together. Days when he worked on his music and felt something like peace. Sarah visited occasionally, usually when she was picking up Emma. They were cordial, sometimes even friendly. The romantic love was gone. But there was a different kind of love now. The love of 2 people who had survived something terrible together, who had created something beautiful together, who had, against all odds, found a way to coexist. The album Isaiah recorded was released quietly. No publicity, no press tour, just available for anyone who wanted to listen. It sold modestly, but the reviews were extraordinary. Critics called it hauntingly beautiful, a masterpiece of pain transformed into art, the most emotionally honest piano album in a decade. Isaiah didn't read the reviews, didn't check the sales numbers, didn't care. He played because playing made him feel whole again, not fixed, not healed, but whole. 2 years after walking into that music classroom, Isaiah sat at the piano in his apartment. Emma was there. She was home from Juilliard for spring break. "Play something with me," she said. "What do you want to play?" Isaiah asked. "Something new, something we've never played before. Let's improvise." Isaiah smiled. "Okay." They sat side by side at the small keyboard. Emma counted them in. 1, 2, 3, 4, and they played. No sheet music, no plan. Just 2 people making music together, father and daughter, finding each other in the notes. The melody wove between them. Isaiah's left hand laid down a foundation. Emma's right hand danced over the top. They traded phrases, answered each other's musical questions, created something that had never existed before and would never exist again. It wasn't perfect. Isaiah's hands still shook sometimes. Emma hit a wrong note here and there. But it didn't matter, because this wasn't about perfection. This was about connection. About 2 people finding a language that transcended words, that transcended time, that transcended all the years they had lost. When they finished, they sat in silence for a moment, both smiling. "I love you, Dad," Emma said. "I love you too, baby girl," Isaiah replied. It was enough. It was more than enough. It was everything. This is a story about many things. About war and trauma and loss. About mental illness and homelessness and the systems that fail our veterans. About families torn apart and slowly, painfully rebuilt. But more than anything, it's a story about second chances. Isaiah Washington lost everything: his career, his family, his home, his identity. For 15 years, he was invisible, forgotten. One of thousands of homeless veterans struggling to survive on streets that didn't want them. But he was still a person, still had value, still had a story worth telling. He was someone's father, someone's ex-husband, someone's student, someone's teacher, someone who could create beauty even in the midst of suffering. We pass people like Isaiah every day, on street corners, outside shelters, holding signs, asking for change. And most of us look away. Because it's uncomfortable. Because we don't know what to do. Because it's easier to pretend they're not there. But they are there, and they're people. With stories, with talents, with families who miss them, with dreams they had to give up, with pain they carry alone. This story asks you to see them, really see them, not to fix them, not to save them, just to see them. To remember that behind every weathered face and dirty jacket is a human being, someone who matters, someone who deserves dignity, someone who deserves respect. Isaiah was lucky. He had a daughter who refused to give up on him, an ex-wife who chose compassion over bitterness, access to programs that could help. But thousands of veterans don't have that. Thousands of people struggling with mental illness don't have that. Thousands of homeless individuals don't have that. And they deserve it anyway. They deserve housing. They deserve health care. They deserve therapy. They deserve opportunities. They deserve to be seen. So the next time you see someone like Isaiah, take a moment. Make eye contact. Say hello. Acknowledge their humanity. You never know who they were, who they are, what they've survived. You never know if they're someone's father, someone's mother, someone's child. You never know if they're a musical genius who just needs one more chance. See them. That's all. Just see them. Because everyone deserves to be seen. Everyone deserves a second chance. And everyone, no matter what they've lost or how far they've fallen, deserves to know that they matter. Isaiah mattered. Emma made sure he knew that. Who in your life needs to hear that they matter? Who have you given up on? Who have you stopped seeing? It's not too late. It's never too late to reach out, to forgive, to try again, to see the person behind the pain, to recognize the music in the silence,